Court in Johannesburg has struck Metalworkers Union of South Africa Numsa's bid off the court roll, paving the way for the Congress of South African Trade Unions, Cosatu, to forge ahead with preparations for the special National Congress. Numsa has been waging a legal battle against Cosatu to be allowed participation in the upcoming special Congress of Cosatu and ultimately being reinstated then to the Union Federation. The union enjoys the support of 7 other disgruntled Cosatu unions in the legal battle. Now, Cosatu's accreditation process for the special Congress, mind you, starts today. Labour analyst Terry Bell joins us from Cape Town via Skype to talk about, firstly, the implication of the court challenge. Good morning to you, Terry. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Evan.
The implication of the court challenge, Terry, how do you read it?
Well, Numsa was very reluctant to go to court. The trade unions have this grand tradition of referring to the courts as the bourgeois courts, and matters should be settled, and I think they should, among the members themselves. But they went finally because they saw it as the only way of getting to this Congress, a Congress that incidentally was called for nearly 2 years ago now, and according to the Cosatu Constitution, should have been held by now, and it should have dealt with these very issues. But the judge obviously did not understand the politics behind it and said this issue was not urgent. So therefore, the whole constitutional issue was never debated and never discussed.
What would the implications or the latest development then mean for the expelled Secretary General Zwelinzima Vavi, in your opinion?
Well, it's the same thing. There were 2 issues to come forward. One was the expulsion of Zwelinzima Vavi, the other, the expulsion of Numsa. Now, the executive of Cosatu, according to the Cosatu Constitution, which incidentally is a very democratic document, has no right to ultimately expel either an office bearer or an affiliate. Such matters have to go before a national congress where they can be ratified or overturned. And this is what both Vavi and Numsa wanted. And this is why there was the call for the special Congress. Now, the group around Sadu Dlamini, the president of Cosatu, have said that the special Congress will not deal with these issues at all. So it really doesn't make much sense to have a special Congress next month and then a final national Congress in November. But unless, of course, one wishes merely to exclude Vavi and Numsa.
Labour politics and worker movement or union movements, are they now at a crossroads in South Africa, and what needs to happen from here on forward?
Well, what needs to happen is to try and build up unity again, and everybody is talking about unity but not really acting in that way, particularly the group within the Cosatu leadership at Cosatu. What must be worrying them, however, is what happened only a few days ago at the National Union of Mine Workers NUM Congress, where David Sipunzi unseated the long-serving Frans Paleni, a Central Committee member of the Communist Party, as General Secretary. Now, Sipunzi has made a number of comments which show that he's not only read and understood the Cosatu Constitution, but he intends to act on it. And he has said, for example, that there needs to be a review of the expulsion of Numsa and of Vavi, and that it is absolutely no requirement for any member or affiliate of Cosatu to support the ANC-led tripartite alliance, which is completely true constitutionally. However, the leading group within Cosatu at the moment have tended to turn this into some kind of principle.
Now, Terry, I had Mr. David Sipunzi in the studio yesterday. He's a man that gives very little away, actually a man of very few words, as I've learnt. Can you give us a little bit of insight and background into this man? And he's almost a little bit of an enigma, isn't he?
He certainly is to all of us, I think. However, I think he's been very, very cautious. He's in a very, very difficult position. I've always maintained that most of the Cosatu unions, if not all of them, are split fairly closely down the middle. But I always thought that NUM and Pop Crew, Nihawu, who've always been the most fiercely loyalist unions around Sadu Dlamini's position, would be fairly solid. But Baleni was unseated, however, by only 9 votes. So he has to be very, very careful. He's trying to bridge gaps. He's trying genuinely, I think, to reunite the Cosatu Federation. And he's even talked about being willing to work with AMCU, which incidentally was another breakaway from Cosatu, back in 1998.
Well, Terry, it's an interesting couple of weeks ahead of us. Thank you for joining us, giving us your views on, well, it will now be the special Congress that's 2 years in the making.